So you chose a married man to be your baby daddy. Okay. And you're wondering why his wife will not allow your child to come into her home. Right? So you willfully got into an entanglement with a married man, got pregnant. Okay. And now your child's dad is married. So you're a mistress mom, side piece mom, and dad is married. Horrible, right? And then on top of that, this child has to go through now and have some other woman or some other family totally negate that child, totally banish that child, not give that child love. You have a set of grandparents, a set of paternal grandparents.
Yo, I know y'all saw that subtle flex when she pulled up her hand and you see that fat ring. Okay, I'm rocking with it. I'm picking up what she putting down. Flex on us.
Right? That may not even respect or accept that child. So you've inserted an innocent human being into your mess. And they will not get the life that they deserve. They will not get the extended family that they deserve because that man was married. I just wonder if women think about that and then they go and they, raise this righteous flag like, well, he should still be with his kid and have a relationship with his child. It will never be the same, right? It will never be as full as it could be, right? If you're in your own relationship and you have your own husband and you have grandparents and everybody is happy and there's no secrets and there's no lies and deceit, but you gave birth and brought a child into deceit. Okay. So you basically set them up for failure before they even came out of the womb, right? You set them up to have an unsuccessful life, right? Where they become older and become embarrassed, realizing that, oh, wait, my mom, especially if you have a daughter, right? I mean, even if you have a son, but for them to go around and have to know and people know, and now they get that backlash of your reputation, because that's usually what happens. Sometimes they start judging the kids. It's horrible, but it is what it is. They'll start to judge the kids because they're like, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I do seriously think that people who think that that's a good idea, I think that they have a problem.
I want to start off by saying, I believe a lot of these conversations are held with little sensitivity for people who are actually striving to heal from some of these real life situations. I'm not saying conversations shouldn't happen and that people should be chained and bound to and be held lip tight to sharing things like this. But I'm fully aware that a lot of times we as a whole get on these platforms and we talk about situations in life a lot of times without the sensitivity of how this really could be affecting people who are really in those situations. This is not a shot at her. But I just wanted to say that, we have to be careful. And that's really where I kind of want to focus my attention in reacting to this video. I want to focus on the people who are actually involved in these broken situations. And I want to speak life and hope into them. But I do want to first say, she shared some great points. She talked about how the child is innocent, which I agree with 100%. She talked about the challenges of being brought into this world from a dysfunctional situation. And then the last point I took away from what she was saying is that the odds are against the child. Well, she actually said you're setting them up for failure. I'll say it like this: the odds are against them. But this is where I really want to make my point, because this channel is all about hope. And I think sometimes when talking about hope, we forget how dirty and dark life can get, or sometimes has to be in order for us to reach out for hope, to call out for help, to cry, to end up in the seat of a therapist's office, to end up in some sort of clinic getting help with our mental illness, because life has gotten dark from things that we didn't even have for a child in this situation. They didn't even have a question in it. They didn't have a say so. So there's some challenges that come with that. But I want to speak to anyone who's a child in this situation and say, though the odds are stacked against you, though there's dysfunction around you, yet you yourself are innocent. You have nothing to do with the trauma. It's not your fault. And how you feel is valid. It's valid. And there's hope for you. You don't have to be known as that child. You don't have to carry a label. None of that. That's not your portion. Grab hold of hope, grab hold of Jesus, grab hold of some practical resources that will help you heal or let go of labels or any ideology and framework that formed about yourself because of it, or that others have formed about you that you need to free yourself from. I absolutely mean that, and it's true. And then for someone as a man or a woman, see, I think oftentimes we forget that even as adults, we make decisions that are unwise and that are painful to others, but also we end up broken from it. So to the man that had the child outside of his marriage, or to the woman that that had the child outside of her marriage, or however you find yourself in the dysfunction, you can be forgiven, though there will be challenges in your life because of it. You can still be free. You can still have peace. You can still live a life that's full of joy. And a life full of joy isn't a perfect life. You know what I'm saying? And neither is a life to where you haven't experienced this type of dysfunction. That's not perfect either. So at the end of the day, no matter what situations we find ourselves in this life, we have to grab hold of hope, the perspectives of hope, and understand that there's peace for us. Like binding ourselves to our mistakes or to our selfish decisions that happen is one of the worst things that we can do to ourselves. Be free. You're not the dysfunction that you cause. You're not the dysfunction that you were born in. In fact, Solomon is the product of David and Bathsheba's marriage. Well, of course, they got married after, but David was involved in putting Bathsheba's first husband on the front line to be essentially be killed in war during battle. And the child that Bathsheba was first, well, she was pregnant, that child died. But Solomon is a result of that. And I shared that story to say that good, godly good can still come out of broken situations. Solomon was still a king. He still built the first temple, in the Old Testament. And if you're a child born out of dysfunction, God still wants to use you. There's still purpose on your life. And maybe you're the person who caused the dysfunction, man or woman. God can still use you. God still used David. Yeah, there was challenges. The Bible says the sword is going to be in your house, meaning you're going to have complexities and challenges for the rest of your life. But God was still with David. David still had triumphs, things to rejoice over. So I just want to say that regardless of where you find yourself in a narrative like this, there's hope for you. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. I'll catch y'all in the next video.
Stand on it, be strong.